There's all kinds of negative stories.
Yep.
Has that been tough, knowing that you guys are
Very.
doing a good job?
We just keep up with our good work, but all the negative feedback in the market, more or less, they actually affect us a little. Ever since we have a lot of negative feedback from the Chinese owner and from the local market, and the supplier actually want us to pay before we even receive the goods.
Right. Yep.
So it's like, okay, we've been paying on time, we've been very good like partner, but somehow because of what they heard in the market and they change everything.
Welcome to the wine podcast from janeanson.com. I am Jane Anson, and today we have another in the series, Thinking Differently. This is a fascinating podcast with a guy called Ken Lee. Ken was born in Malaysia, has lived in Singapore and in Hong Kong for much of his professional life. Today lives between Bordeaux and mainly Kuala Lumpur. He is the president and the owner of a company called Three Thinkers. It's a wine management company that essentially today, his main project is working with Château Plain-Point in Fronsac, biggest estate in Fronsac, 100 hectares. And he's going to talk us through this project, which began back in 2013 when it came under Chinese ownership. And it's lasted 2 decades where we have seen many Chinese owners come and go, not always successfully. This really is a project where we can all learn a lot from. And I think you're really going to enjoy. I certainly enjoyed talking to him. Okay, so hi, Ken Lee. I'm thrilled to welcome you to the podcast with me today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you for having me here.
It's wonderful to have you here because we've known each other for about 10 years.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah, we first met in 2016.
Yeah.
And today you are, as I mentioned in the introduction, today you are heading up one of the most successful and exciting projects with Chinese owners in Bordeaux right now. So, and you're running with the local team here as well, Château Plain-Point in Fronsac. When we first met and when the project really began in 2013, when it was first bought, the landscape for Chinese ownership in Bordeaux was very different from today.
Of course.
And I think one of the questions I'd like to ask right up front, because there's so much interest, is how has it been for you living through that change from when there were really hundreds of new Chinese owners coming in to today, when you're one of the few, or your company that you represent are one of the few still standing, still successful. How has that been?
Actually, for the Chinese investor to buy a vineyard, it is very important for them to know what do they want to achieve. So I know, like perhaps in early 2010, like we have about 200 vineyards are owned by Chinese, and but to my knowledge, and there are not many of them are really buying for a wine business. A lot of them are buying like maybe for leisure. So, and I believe some of them even like when they buy is very much focused into the chateau itself, not the vineyard, not the vineyard.
Yeah, so often buying in very beautiful areas, very beautiful castles, but not necessarily with the most potential for the terroir, for the vineyard itself. How has it, like, what is it, do you think, that is so different about your own project, about the project of your owner? Could you maybe tell us a little bit about him? And this was, I think, his first vineyard, but tell us a little bit about him.
The owner is Mr. Shi Yuzhu. So he first bought the vineyard in 2013. So
and his first vineyard.
First vineyard and first visit to Bordeaux.
Okay.
So, and when he first came, of course, he did go around Bordeaux to see different like vineyard, but he just fall in love in Fronsac, not Chateau Plain-Point particularly at the time, but because when we visited Fronsac, and we were told by a lot of senior people and say this area used to be a famous one and they have very good soil to make a good wine. So since then, he would like us to focus to find something in Fronsac appellation.
Yep.
So that here we found the Château Plain-Point.
I think it's been a really interesting. Fronsac has attracted quite a few Chinese buyers over the years.
Yeah.
There's been Chateau Richelieu, Chateau La Rivière. I believe at one point there were about 20% of the vines in Fronsac were under Chinese ownership.
Yeah,
Um,
it is.
And I agree, as you know, knowing Bordeaux as I do, it certainly is one of the most the highest potential in terms of its limestone soils, in terms of how beautiful it is. So it kind of marries that idea of you still get a beautiful location,
Yep.
but you also get serious terroir that can make great wines.
Yep. Yep.
So
That's for sure.
you're about to
Yeah.
launch in about 3 weeks' time, actually opening the
Yep.
estate. It's
Yep.
been a long journey. It's
Very,
been a long
very.
journey.
Actually, like from 2013 till now, like we are talking about 12 years.
Yep.
So, and but the good thing is when the owner first bought Chateau Plain-Point, he already set a milestone for us, and what he wanted to achieve is all very clear to everyone who work in Chateau Plain-Point.
Okay.
So, what like we achieved today, to me, is not a surprise because everything is planned since 2013.
So what did he say? What was
For
his?
example, when he first bought Chateau Plain-Point in 2013, and he said like he will do a restoration of the cellar because that time the cellar was very old, and he said he will do a restoration, and but not at 35 hectare, but when we achieve 100 hectare.
Okay.
So, and every time when we buy a chateau or buy a vineyard, we actually ask expert to do soil analysis. So to make sure the soil are very good to improve the wine further.
Yep. So this is important. So when you first bought Plain-Point, 35 hectares, so that's
Yep.
maybe 70 acres, so pretty good size, but
Yep.
not huge.
Yep.
And then the way you've expanded is by buying neighboring estates.
Yep.
So the vineyard is still contiguous. It's still
Yes,
that
it's
was in
all
one.
nearby. I would say within 2 to 3 kilometers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And how was that received? Were the neighbours happy? Like how did you politically deal with buying neighboring estates?
We actually have no problem with that until we about to start the renovation.
Yep.
Because we actually try to combine all the facility equipment of 100 hectare into one.
Right.
So like initially, like Château Plain-Point where we are is only 35 hectare, but we're gonna build a cellar for 100 hectare. So we need a bigger place.
Yep.
So we do encounter some objection from the neighborhood. So because at time they are not sure about what we will be doing.
Yep.
So
because Fronsac has many beautiful small estates.
Yep,
So I guess were they worried about it changing
correct.
the landscape?
Yep. They don't want the neighborhood to be too busy,
Yep.
and they don't want the neighborhood to have too many tractor. Yeah. So, but after explaining the whole project, they sort of like accept it. And in fact, today we have a lot of visitors are from the neighborhood, and it's their friend.
Yep.
So I think now and we have very good relationship with the neighborhood, and they like our project very much.
I've seen it a few times from breaking ground to I came kind of 2 or 3 years in, 2 years in maybe, and now you're inaugurating at the beginning of October.
Yeah.
So the plans were drawn up in 2018.
Yeah.
Then COVID happened, which
correct.
probably put things back a little.
A little, yeah.
And then you first broke ground in 2021, is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
and so who's the architect? Can you talk us through, if somebody's visiting, what are they going to see?
Today,
Yeah.
if somebody visiting, I would say like from the main entrance of Château Plain-Point to the parking. So you have to drive for about 1.5 kilometers. So the whole journey will be a vineyard journey. So you will need to pass by our lakeside and to see the cellar and go uphill. And then you park your car. So, and when you enter into a cellar, we are talking about like a 10,000 square meter cellar.
Wow, 10,000 square meter. Yeah.
So
over several levels,
4
if I
levels
remember rightly.
altogether.
4 levels.
So the entire visit is exactly like how we make the wine. So from the harvest area to the vinification, to the cellar, to the barrel cellar, and then you go back up to the main reception area and finish with wine tasting.
Yep.
But of course that's not the end. And a lot of customer or visitor, they can actually choose to have a picnic with us in the vineyard or in the garden. Yeah.
Okay.
So we make it like a lifestyle destination. So, and all these are planned before we start.
So this was part of the idea back in 2013.
Yes.
Yep.
So this is what we want to do because we know it is difficult for us to compete with the Goncourt Case. So we must find a way to do it differently. So we know we can actually build Château Plain-Point perhaps through the tourism.
Yep.
And this
Yep.
is what we are today.
And it makes sense for Fronsac as well. I mean, because it's a beautiful area that people maybe forget.
Yeah.
It's not as famous today as Pomerol or Saint-Emilion, but when you get there, you realize it's a stunning part of Bordeaux.
Definitely. Yeah. And last year, we have this open house by the Fronsac appellation. So we actually opened as per the request by the appellation because at that time we have the cellar ready, but not the landscape.
Okay.
So, but it was okay. They say we should open it because it is kind of like showing support to the appellation. So we opened it for the weekend.
Okay.
And when we open for registration, we in 2 weeks and we are full. So on the actual day of the open house, we have like 2,500 people with us. And this is like unbelievable.
Okay, let's take it from that super positive. What were the biggest challenges that you've had? Were there moments when you thought this is never going to happen? How did you bring it all together, especially when you think about COVID and also the wider market for Bordeaux wines from 2018 to today?
Yeah. For the past 12 years in Château Plain-Point, I would say the biggest challenge will be during the renovation because this is a time that we have COVID and followed by the war. So because it is a very big project and we have a lot of tailor-made equipment and everything.
And you mean Ukraine?
Ukraine war. So, and the project actually is taking longer than expected. So, but at the end, of course, we managed to make it and open it on time.
Yep.
Yeah, but having just a small delay.
Is this the time that you'd planned back in 2018? You expected it to be 2025?
No, actually the cellar completed in end of 2023.
Yep.
Yeah, but we were not ready to show to everyone until maybe next month.
Yep. Okay. So even with all of the delays, I mean, well, external potential delays, you have managed to deliver pretty much on time.
Yep.
Everything
Everything is okay. Yeah, as per schedule still. Yeah,
Yep.
but of course, with the war, the renovation cost has gone up.
Yes.
So this is something unexpected.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think there were some delays getting planning permission, which unfortunately would have also meant that there's an increased cost.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yep. So you're now at a stage where you can begin to think about getting the wine to market in a much smoother way because the winery is ready.
Yep.
You're doing a few interesting things. So since you bought Plain-Point, you're making a white wine as well as a red. So Fronsac is a red wine only appellation known for its red wines. Mainly Merlot, some Cabernet Franc would be the classic for the area.
Yeah, the classic blend. Yeah.
You're keeping Fronsac for the red, but you're also making a white. So tell us a bit about your white wine and your reasoning, and if the white grapes are grown in Fronsac.
Actually, this is very much to like the market demand in China. So because the owner is actually based in China and he know a lot about like the consumer behavior in China. And that time, for example, and a lot of like Chinese local people, they are quite reluctant to drink sparkling water. So most of them will drink still water or even hot water.
Right.
But he sees the trend of people start drinking sparkling water. And so he thinks that also, for example, from the past, people also enjoy drinking because of the hot water, and they think people only drink red wine. But because of sparkling water, and now people also drink white wine in a cooler temperature.
So he could see that the white wine category was going to grow.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So that's why he asked us to prepare and start to do some good white wine.
That is interesting because now, as you know, that was pretty prescient because now the growth of white wine in those red wine areas of Fronsac and Saint-Emilion is really becoming quite an important change in Bordeaux, and the same in the Medoc. The Medoc today has got about 270 hectares of white grapes, when even 5 years ago that would have been about 130 hectares. So white wine is definitely a trend among these red wine areas.
Definitely, we see a demand even in China.
Yep. So that's really interesting. And are you growing your your white grapes in Fronsac appellation as well, or do you buy them in from somewhere else?
We actually, like from Château Plain-Point in 2013, which is our first chateau, and we actually bought up to like 7 chateaux altogether until 2018.
No more since then. Is that the last
No,
purchase?
no more
2018?
since then. Yeah. So all the wine produced from Château Plain-Point are our self-owned.
Right. Okay. So white grapes and red grapes all owned within those. Yep.
Yeah. In the previous terroir.
Yep. And Semillon and Sauvignon Blanc for the whites as well.
Mostly, yeah. We have Sauvignon Blanc mostly and a bit of Semillon.
Yep. Okay. So that's something very interesting that you are that you saw way ahead that was going to be an important growth area. The other thing I think you're doing that's super interesting is you're using the Bordeaux Négociant system. So a lot of estates in the smaller appellations, the non-classified, will often be looking to go direct. And many Chinese owners, when they first came to Bordeaux, and maybe this was one of the mistakes that was made, was thinking you can make the wine here and then you'll just sell it all within China through existing distribution channels. That hasn't worked in many cases, and I think you guys have been smart maybe to not try that, to kind of do a lot of the traditional work that all good chateaus in Bordeaux do. So maybe talk us through that strategy. Why did you choose not to go direct and use négociant?
The vision of having Château Plain-Point from 2013 is always to achieve an international brand. It is never a wine that goes to China only. So it is always the plan that once we are ready, we should go to the Bordeaux marketplace and to sell to négociant. Because we know that by having 100 hectares, it is difficult for us to sell wine internationally. So by working with a négociant, I think it's more like cost efficient and it saves a lot of our time.
Yep. And you're doing something more than that. So you're using the négociant system, but not in a traditional way. Now, what I mean by that is you are not using, say, 10 négociants in a single country, which is often the case, that many different négociants go into all the different countries, but you are doing it more targeted. You're working with specific négociants for specific areas, but you're not starting in mainland China. You're doing it in other areas. So tell us about that.
Okay, first of all, I think to build a brand, I think we need the commitment not only from Château Plain-Point, but from our partner as well. That's why we choose to have like exclusivity, like négociant for selected market or selected region. So it's like what we have only one importer for one country. So today, and we first launched the wine in like 3 months ago only, not very long. So again, like what I said, although
with which vintage?
In 2018.
So launching with the 2018 vintage, but only launching it in 2025. So waiting until you had a real story to tell to the market. Because you could have been selling those wines along the way, but you obviously made the decision, we're going to hold it back until we are ready with the whole package, the whole story.
Because the owner would like the wine, when we sell the wine, he would like the wine to be ready to drink. So you see, we are not even selling in on premier. So that's why in 2018, it will be our first release to the market. And why 2018 is also the year where we have all the 7 chateaux together into one.
Right. And so this is an important point. So you bought these other chateaux, but you didn't. You chose to unite them under the Château Plain-Point, so there would be a big enough production, I guess.
Because we know to promote a brand is never an easy task. So when you are too small, so it is not worthwhile to spend the effort. So that's why the owner already told us in 2013. So he will make the restoration when we have 100 hectares.
Gosh, so he
In 2013, he already told us that.
even had the idea of how big he wanted
Yep.
it to be at that point.
Yep. Everything is all set as planned. It's
Fascinating.
unbelievable.
And why Plain-Point? Do you know, was there something in the history that he particularly loved in it? What was it about that chateau?
I think it's a wine. It's a wine because again, like every time when he buys something in Bordeaux, like all the 7 chateaux that we have bought, it's not true like the beauty of it. Never.
Yep.
So we always ask an expert to check the soil to make sure that will be to make good wine will be the foundation to buy.
Yep.
So without, to buy in Fronsac is never difficult. There are too many to buy in Fronsac area.
Yep.
But to buy a good one, it requires a bit of passion and time.
Yes, yeah, and doing the work, doing the studies to be sure that you're buying the right the right terroir.
Yeah.
And today, what percentage of your production is red and white?
I would say about 85% are red and 15 are white.
Yep. And are you finding now that you're going to the market, are there different countries that are interested particularly in the white? Have you found the white kind of gets you into different markets?
Yes. Actually, I first launched Château Plain-Point in Osaka. So that will be our very first launch in 3 months ago. So I can see the white are very welcoming by the local. And I would say like with the white, even it make the red better.
Yep.
So because when they buy the white, and most of them will buy the red as well. So it come in pair.
And isn't that fascinating when you think the history of Bordeaux was almost the opposite for many, many decades?
Yeah.
But now the white is becoming a really wonderful channel way in.
Yeah.
And you have a hospitality background. So you spent many years working with Shangri-La, so really very, very high-end hospitality across Asia. Are there learnings from you working in that environment that you are applying in the Plain-Point, and maybe that other chateaux could think about when you're doing wine tourism?
Yeah. And okay, first of all, wine tourism is because we have done some survey and we know that we will be more competent if we have wine tourism in Château Plain-Point.
Yep.
So that we will be like unique, not like have a direct competition with the rest. So this is why we do wine tourism in Plain-Point. And we also believe like by like creating a lot of moment of truth in Château Plain-Point, and it will help us to promote the brand better.
Yep.
Yeah. So again, before we start, we already set the plan like tourism is the way we want to do for Château Plain-Point.
Yep.
And everything, again, we go as per plan. Yeah.
But are there things from your experience? What makes the difference? What sets a good wine tourism experience apart from an okay one?
What we have in Château Plain-Point today is like we have like 1,200 different vegetable farm.
Okay.
And then where most of the aroma are very much linked to the wine aromas.
Okay, so tell us what that means. So a vegetable, like a garden that people
plantation,
can,
yeah.
So, with different herbs.
Yeah.
And
so a garden where for people to walk to.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and beside that, we also have the animal farm where you can meet like a goat, Highland cow, and alpacas.
Okay, excellent. I can't wait to see this in a few weeks. The reason that I don't know this, by the way, anyone listening, is because when I went not so long ago, maybe 18 months ago, it was the winery was finished, but there was nothing around it.
Nothing around,
Okay. Okay. So a farm with animals. There's a vegetable and herb garden that people can walk around.
And you can also have a horse ride. It's a horse-drawn carriage. Okay. So you can actually ride on that and have the visit across the estate.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. So for example, like 2 weeks ago, I have customer who organized a picnic. So the picnic was organized in one of the like a forest, because altogether in Château Plain-Point we have 150 hectares.
Right.
So like we have like a designated place for picnic. So the whole journey starts from the entrance of Château Plain-Point, where you actually you take a horse ride, and you will go through like some vineyard, and then you stop, and then you need to walk through animal farm and the vegetable farm, and then you will arrive at the picnic area.
So everybody gets to experience
Yep,
the
yep.
other two things as they go
Correct,
along.
correct,
That's
correct.
great. And you're working with local architects here and local landscape gardeners.
Yep.
Is that right? How did you
Yep.
choose your architects?
Okay. The architect that we have today for Château Plain-Point, his name is Olivier Chadebost, a
Okay.
very talented
Yeah,
architect.
and with lots of experience in
Yes.
working in
And
wineries.
I have actually, I first came to Bordeaux in 2009 when we about to start the renovation. I have the opportunity to meet many, many different architects. But I must say, Olivier is the only one who are good in design and wine.
Yep, yep. So has a true understanding of why you're
Yep.
designing things in a winery
Correct,
the way
correct.
you do.
Yeah.
I wonder now, it's so wonderful to hear like such a positive story about Chinese ownership and seeing, you know, how successful the Plain-Point is becoming. Is there a feeling that it has been a handicap, that there's a negative image today because of so many Chinese projects that have not worked, and that, you know, we hear about owners who bought something but then didn't understand how to run it, or maybe didn't pay their staff? There's all kinds of negative stories.
Yep.
Has that been tough, knowing that you guys are
Very.
doing a good job?
Yeah.
How have you kind of been able to keep away the negative
We
stories?
just keep up with our good work, but all the negative feedback in the market, more or less, they actually affect us a little. Like, for example, from the past, when we want to order like the bottle, so those equipment that we need, so we normally don't pay after like we receive the goods, and we have like 30 or 60 days to pay.
Yep.
But ever since, we have a lot of negative feedback from the Chinese owner and from the local market, and the supplier actually want us to pay before we even receive the goods.
Right. Yep.
So it's like, okay, we've been paying on time, we've been very good like partner, but somehow because of what they heard in the market, and they change everything.
Yep. So you have to be prepared to pay in advance to make up for things that you had nothing to do with. In fact. Yep.
Yeah. But we continue our good effort, and I believe like we already received many people in Château Plain-Point today.
Yep.
And every time when I receive somebody in Plain-Point, it gives me a lot of confidence.
Yes.
Because they say a lot of good thing about it, and some of them wouldn't even believe it. This is with the Chinese investor.
It's really fantastic, because you're doing something else that's unusual and hard, like very, very difficult, is you are pricing Plain-Point in the French market to be around 40 euros,
Yep.
which is an amount which allows you to actually make, you know, some money. It allows it to be an ongoing project, because one of the really tough things in Bordeaux right now is so many properties are finding that they're being pressed down and down on pricing, and so it's becoming harder and harder for them to pay their staff, to make an ongoing business. So really, you know, congratulations for being able to set that price, which is also got to be among the highest in Fronsac. So
definitely.
Yeah, I mean, even the super successful and brilliant Fronsacs like La Dauphine or Les Trois Croix would not be quite, I wouldn't think, at 40 euros in the market in France. How did you achieve that? And how did you manage to get past the pushback? Because you're working with negociants, and the negociants must be the guys going, we don't sell Fronsac at 40 euro, well, at consumer price 40 euros. How did you do that?
It took us some time to convince the negotiant to work with us, actually. So, and again, when we first present the project, it was like halfway through the renovation, and a lot of them still don't believe what they see today. So that's why, we didn't start until we complete almost everything.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but today, after some study, we believe in the market, it is not almost everything about the price, but it is a lot about the brand. So it's about like what they can receive and what they hear and what they see also.
Yes. What I'm
So
hearing is about having confidence,
yeah,
confidence in when what you guys are producing,
yeah,
and confidence that they have a good enough story that they can help you achieve that price.
yep, definitely.
And it goes back to you guys knowing from the beginning, but also having the patience to wait to go to the negotiants until you had all of those things in place. Do you think that you're kind of doing a hybrid model, I would say,
Yeah,
where you're using negotiants, but you're working in individual countries,
yeah,
getting them to work in individual markets, individual countries.
yeah.
Are you seeing that becoming a viable, could that be a viable way forward for other estates? Do you speak to, like, is there like a discussion that you guys have with your neighbors?
But I'm not sure about the rest of the estate or chateau, but what we are doing today, I think we will continue that way because it's proven so far. And we have now like 10 countries where we have exclusivity for few negotiation. And they are very happy and they spend a lot of time on our brand. And I see we are getting a lot of good feedback.
And you're helping them as well by giving them marketing support.
Yep.
So when they go into the market, it's not just them going in on their own. You're
No,
ensuring
I'm
that
with
there's
them
marketing.
because I believe in like promoting the wine instead of selling the wine. So like for example, in Château Plain-Point, we have created like an e-learning program for everyone to understand us better.
This will be for the consumers who arrive,
For the
or
consumer, yeah.
for the
So,
negotiants who work with
but
you as well.
not actually not only for the consumer, for everybody involved in Château Plain-Point. Because what is important is like for salespeople, it's important for them to know about Château Plain-Point in order for them to sell.
Yep.
So the e-learning program become very important.
So you're kind of going the extra mile at every point,
Yeah.
which is probably means you're approaching it in the way that many of the classified estates would be doing, making sure that the people who are involved at every point have the tools necessary.
Yep. This is definitely very crucial.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, it's not the chateau who is selling the wine. It's not the negotiant who is selling the wine. It is the salesperson who is selling the wine to the end consumer.
Yes, you're right. It's an actual person.
Yep.
That end point is a person.
Yep. So to equip the salespeople with knowledge, to me, is vital.
Yep, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
And what is the reason that you are holding back the launch in mainland China at the moment?
Okay, that's because in China market are very complicated at the moment. And with the reason like drinking alcohol policy in China, it changes almost everything.
Yep.
So that's why we are putting a hold back and see what will happen next. And at the same time, we are also looking for a right partner to penetrate into a right market.
Yep. And in China, I think, from what I understand, you think one would not be enough. Just having a single importer in China, you probably do there need more than one.
Yeah, definitely more than one. So for China, for US, for France, I think we will not have exclusivity partner, but we will open for a few. Maybe for people, like for example, if this importer are good in on-trade, and he will be exclusive for on-trade.
Yep. So you'll do it through channels.
Through channels, yeah.
Could you tell us, for people listening, what's your feeling about the Chinese wine market right now? Are you feeling confident? I mean, I know we look at the figures from 2016 even to today, obviously an extremely different landscape. I do a yearly competition where I'm tasting Chinese wines, where I go to Macau and we get a wonderful overview of what's happening within the market for the Chinese wines. But I'd love your opinion of the wider wine market in China, and where are the bright spots?
The bright spot, I think it will come, but not in the next 1 to 2 years.
Yep.
Because with the policy in place, so a lot of changes currently, so it will take some time to recover. But I still have confidence in China market because they have the huge population.
Yep.
And I must say they still have the spending power. but it's just not in the right moment.
Yep. So it's holding, being confident and waiting.
Yeah.
And I guess that's one of the beauties of the Bordeaux system, that there are other, that it covers the world. So there are other places. And maybe one of the bright spots is the white wine consumption in China, which for many years people thought was never going to happen.
Ooh.
But now
This is definitely not the case for now.
Yeah. So that's pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
Your price point. How did you set that price point?
Basically, it's through like we have done some survey and also having discussed with our partner, the negotiator, the broker. So we set the price together.
Okay.
And of course, and when we talk to brokers, and they actually so of course everyone will thought that it's the owner of Château Plain-Point who set that price, but no, for Plain-Point, no, the price is actually set by a team of experts after tasting the wine.
Okay.
So we have done a blind tasting for 20
comparing it against other
we have
wines
20 different wines
from Fronsac or across Bordeaux.
Across Bordeaux, 20 different wine from the range of X seller price of 20 to 50.
Okay, excellent. So
In
within
blind
within that kind of sweet spot of where you are wanting to be price wise.
Yep. And surprisingly, in the blind tasting, we were ranked number 3 among the 20.
How many tasters?
About five tasters.
Yep.
And we are not included. The team of Château Plain-Point are not included.
Oh, interesting.
So we are not in the taster. We are not the taster testing panel. So we were told like this is what happened and these are the answer. But of course, they cannot tell us who are the top one and who are the last one.
Or rather, you can't tell us.
No, actually, I didn't know. Really?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, maybe only the broker will know because they are the one who do the blind tasting.
Yeah.
So. And
that is interesting because, again, just for people listening, wine brokers are tasting hundreds of wines per week. They are probably the best tasters in Bordeaux because their job is to be continually tasting wines.
When I asked the owner of Château Plain-Point, I said, we are now ready to sell the wine. And at what price do you think we should launch them? Mm-hmm. But the answer from the owner is, Ken, you should ask this question to the local, to the expert, not to me.
Yep.
So it is not about what I want, he said. It's about what the consumer will be happy to pay. So one thing I admire about this owner is like, he really leave everything to the expert to do the job.
Yes, yeah. And what's his background? I know he wasn't in wine before. He was in computer
games.
Am I right? Yeah, online games. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he has a very good, I guess, understanding of how quickly consumer habits can change. But also the need to be reactive to.
Correct. He know more or less like the consumer behavior, which is very important. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are there things that you personally have learnt or enjoyed in terms of working in the French culture for so long now? What are the things that, do you think, what's changed you about living in France off and on for so long?
When we first met in 2016, I think that time I am a very aggressive person.
I definitely didn't notice that.
So my team here changed me a little. But I respect that because like it's important.
So by aggressive you mean direct? Very direct.
Direct, and you know, we used to live in a fast-paced city, so you want things to work like faster in an efficient way.
Yes. So but you were born in Malaysia, so lived in Kuala Lumpur for a long time, but also Singapore and Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So you are all fast-moving cities.
Very. But I respect that. Yeah.
So that means learning to negotiate more to get the result you want. So tell us a little bit more about what that means in terms of negotiating style, maybe.
Not so much of negotiating with my colleague. Mm-hmm. It's more like convincing them. So like telling them, give them more reason why this need to be done in this way.
Yep.
Yeah, and of course, they will also tell me why they are doing that. So we actually exchange a lot, and we make me like understand them better.
Yep.
Yeah, and like for example, like you said, to have a good wine. So you first definitely you need to have a good soil, and that's something very or almost impossible to change.
Yep.
So, but of course, you can make it better by like a proper selection to treat the soil better.
Yep, maybe drainage
Yeah,
channels.
yeah,
There are some things you can
correct.
do.
So all this will take time, which then slowly they make me understand.
Yep.
So that's why I respect.
A good exchange of
Yeah,
cultures.
Yep, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to just ask a couple more questions.
Yep.
This is such a great conversation. I really,
Thank you,
really
Jane.
appreciate it. Somebody's coming to Bordeaux for a couple of weeks and they want to try great Chinese food. Is that possible? Or maybe Singaporean food or Hong Kong food? Have you ever found a great restaurant in Bordeaux where you can really have food that you love, that would remind you of somewhere in Asia that you've loved?
I would say not yet, not in Bordeaux, but perhaps in Paris.
Yeah, we've still got to go to Paris for that. Damn it. I always say that one of the things that I loved when the wave of Chinese owners came into Bordeaux was all of a sudden I could get good tea in chateaus, because before then you could only get coffee, you could never get tea. So I always enjoyed that.
I see,
But you're right, there still isn't maybe a fabulous Chinese restaurant. So no, so you would recommend. So do you have a recommendation in Paris?
The Imperial Treasure is very good.
Okay, and whereabouts is
Definitely.
that?
I can't remember because I was there like long time ago.
Okay, the Imperial Palace. I'll look it up.
Imperial Treasure definitely
Imperial Treasure,
is one of the very good one.
Okay, perfect.
It's a branch from Singapore, and they are very, very popular in London as well.
Okay, fantastic.
And every time when I visit them, they are like full. So I must go with reservation.
Excellent. Okay, Imperial Treasure, Paris and London. Okay, I'm trying it. And conversely, is there a French dish, a local French recipe that you've fallen in love with that you would recommend people to try?
The duck confit. I love that a lot. Yeah.
Perfect. And if somebody is going to try Plain-Point, what should they be expecting? Is there a particular vintage that you would recommend them trying, or is it only the 2018 out right now?
Yep, it's only the 2018. Yeah.
In white as well?
White will be 2019.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
the red is 2018.
So what should they expect if they're trying Plain-Point? What kind of wine are they going to get? What's the
I would say like it is a very well structured wine. So, and when you drink Château Plain-Point, I always suggest you pair with food.
Yep. So great food wine.
Yeah. Because in Château Plain-Point, it is a wine with quite a strong tannin.
Yep.
Yeah. So I always suggest to pair with food.
And also, I guess that's why you're holding it back and releasing it when it's ready to drink. So when those tannins are softer
and this is the objective from the owner. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So another.
He said to us like we will only sell when it's ready to drink.
Yep.
So and 2018 is just perfect to drink at this time.
Yep.
Yeah, and if you happen to drink our like younger wine like 2022, which is very good, but to me it's still too young to drink it.
Yep. It is, but that's yet again a strategy that your owner saw from the beginning in 2013, which has become more accepted now. So now there are more and more estates who are choosing to hold their wine back until it's ready to drink, because again, you're going to the market with a different story and not expecting people to hold the wine back, but just they can buy it, they can open it, they can enjoy
buy
it.
and drink it. Not to keep it.
Yep, exactly. Okay, this is wonderful. Just tell us, to finish off, maybe a couple of lessons that you've maybe learnt over the last 10 or 15 years of being in Bordeaux. Any advice that you might give to estates who are maybe about to undergo a renovation themselves, or who are looking to go into new markets? Are there any pearls of wisdom that you would share with people?
No, I think there's a Chinese saying we say 天时地利人和, which means like the timing, the place, and the people. So these three components are very important for like any of the launch project, because without having these three, I think it is almost impossible to succeed.
Yep, fantastic. So the timing, the place, and the people.
Yep.
Okay,
the
perfect.
crucial one. Yeah.
Okay, well, a wonderful place to finish. Thank you, Ken.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for being with us and
Thank you, Jane.
sharing such interesting stories.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you very much.
This podcast is produced in partnership with Wine Voices from Wine Searcher, the world's largest wine and spirits database. You can get a 10% discount on a 12-month Wine Searcher Pro subscription just by using the code JaneWS at checkout. Can be uppercase or lowercase, doesn't matter, just JaneWS. You can follow the link in the description to get started.